Sponsored by TechTime Radio. Visit them online at techtimeradio.com.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side. With leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology News of the Week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. Wow, that whiskey's getting to me quickly here. We welcome our radio audience
drank whiskey?
Of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm Nathan Mumm, your host and technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise. My co-host here, Mike Roday, is in studio, and he's the award-winning author and our human behavior expert. Now, of course, we're live streaming during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/techtimeradio. We are all friends from different backgrounds, and we hope to bring the best technology show possible weekly for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Odie, our producer, at the control panel today. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
All right, we're starting off with a patriotic-looking hat. You like my hat here?
You know, that's got to be the most innocuous hat that I've ever seen you wear. There's no flashing lights.
I know.
It doesn't make sounds.
It's
just a hat.
It's just a hat. It's just a subdued hat.
Yeah,
that's all right. But at my 4th of July party, I got blinking lights and a bunch of other hats.
I know.
Okay.
I was really surprised when that's all you brought was the hat.
Okay. All right. Well, today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, buckle up as we dive into the latest tech news and stories. Here's what we have on the show today. A new breed of hackers have emerged in the dimly lit corners of the digital realm. Their weapon of choice, not lines of code or brute force attacks, but something far more unsettling. Then picture a supermarket where the mundane becomes magical. Price tags flutter like digital butterflies, product information dances across the screen, and promotional materials come out of thin air. Welcome to the world of electronic shelf labels. And as the Olympic torch ignites, NBC unveils its secret weapon, Al Michaels' generated sportscaster voice. That's right. We're going to be talking about that. And of course, Gwen Way, our resident gadgets and gear tech guru, enters the spotlight as she brings with her a pesky problem that transcends swatting and enters the realm of technology. What is it? Gwen's insights are always a breath of fresh air, so tune in for this and more riveting tales from the digital frontier. We're all on the edge of our seat now, and with an unexpected twist, we're going to have, of course, our Mike mesmerizing moment, our technology fail of the week, and a possible Nathan nugget. But of course, we're going to have our pick of the day whiskey tastings to see if Mark can get us to do 2 thumbs up, 1 thumb split, or 2 thumbs down. Now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right. Late last week, NBC announced that it had cloned the voice of legendary play-by-play sports announcer Al Michaels to deliver recaps for the Paris Olympics, essentially to anybody that subscribes to the network's Peacock streaming service. Let's go to Corinne Westland for more on this story.
Last week, NBC announced it had cloned the voice of legendary play-by-play sports announcer Al Michaels to deliver recaps from the Paris Olympics to subscribers of the network's Peacock streaming service. It was amazing, Michaels told the publication. It was not only close, it was almost 2% off perfect. I'm thinking, whoa. Noting that he was, at first, skeptical that NBC's LLM could capture his unique vocal stylings, including the hints of his charming Brooklyn accent. Whoa, indeed. Though NBC said it's hired more than 150 commentators to help cover the 32 sports and 300-plus medal events, only artificial intelligence made it possible to deliver individualized summaries at scale. Whoa is right, guys. Back to you in the studio.
All right, so Al Michaels, you know who Al Michaels is?
No,
You don't. So he's kind of like the Howard Cosell. You know who Howard Cosell was?
I grew up with Howard.
Okay, so Al Michaels, I think, would probably be the equivalent of Howard Cosell back in the 60s and 70s. He's really kind of the main sportscaster. He did play-by-play calls on Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football for over 36 years. Now, he's agreed to a licensing deal that allowed him to go on in. He talked a whole bunch of times, over 5,000 different times that he was talking into this mic itself to accumulate all of this media material so they could create his AI generated voice. Now, the idea is during the Olympics, now NBC normally features about 7 million unique packages, around 10 minutes worth of highlights for each subscriber. His voice will essentially recap the opening day's coverage on July 27th before moving on to the 40 Olympic events to be held each day. Being able to deliver that personalized package content at a scale does seem like a good idea, but fans of Al Michaels are going to be probably pretty disappointed because Al Michaels is an opinionated individual. He's been in trouble before. He's been fined.
No.
Yeah, he's got Howard Cosell got in trouble too. I mean, Howard Cosell would drink on the air, right? I mean, so he would.
Everybody drank on the air back in the day. Everybody smoked on the air.
So this is the first time.
A completely different time.
It was a different time, right? So the large language model, the LLM,
except for Mark, who's drinking on air right now.
You're drinking on air too. That's right. Okay. Now, are you going to be interested in tuning in to a computerized typed version and listen to the recap with Al Michaels' voice?
Me, no.
No. Okay. Do you think other people are going to be interested in listening to his voice?
Probably. I imagine he has fans that's going to enjoy his AI clone.
Okay. Or we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with James Earl Jones essentially doing the AI rights for Darth Vader, right? And then we also did the Tom Hanks done the same type of deal. So all these celebrities are going to go on out and get their voices digitalized. Are we going to be okay with 15, 20, 30 years from now still getting Al Michaels? And what about the up and coming individual that may have a unique voice? Now he's going to be set to the side.
That's one of my big issues with that's what I was going to say. I'll say, so you've got a clone voice of Al Michaels doing this stuff. For how long is he going to continue into the future? Because as long as his voice is being used for these events, who is going to be able to do an up and coming replacement? Because that's part of our growth process.
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues I have with things like, having James Earl Jones clone voice for Darth Vader. That makes sense.
Okay.
Especially because, and I know nobody wants to talk about it, that at some point, nobody's going to listen to new Darth Vader stuff.
Okay. So that is probably going to happen, right?
I know nobody wants to hear that, but at some point, Darth Vader is going to fade into the historical backdrop of our livelihood.
Well, see, so people have done voices before that are iconic, and you have people take care of it. So how many different voices do you think there's been for Mickey Mouse? I started with Walt Disney, and this is my comparison. So you started with Walt Disney. He was the first Mickey Mouse. Didn't do it very long. And then you had other people do the voice. How would you take a guess? How many do you think have done it?
6.
No, higher.
10.
Yeah. Around 10 to 11 people, depending on if you include Walt and his brother doing different voices for different things.
Well, so
people passed away. They've had new people come on in and do Mickey Mouse's voice, very much like the original voice, or very much like a standard voice that they have. But they keep on getting new Mickey Mouse actors, or they should be able to get new other actors to come on in and not have to replace the same voice. They did this with Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. That was
in part. I'm agreeing with you because it should go with the next generation. But when I want a Mel Blanc voice, I don't want a Mel Blanc clone. I want to hear Mel Blanc. You know who he is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, with the
so he was
all the comedies.
He was Looney Tunes.
Yep.
Right, and most people aren't as familiar with those voices anymore. So
there you go. All right, well, there you go. Let's move on to story number 2.
What's story number 2?
Story number 2. Odie has it.
Yeah, grocery stores are adding digital labels in front of their produce now instead of pricing stickers.
Okay.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I see it as a bad thing. They are going to be faster than ever before. This month, Walmart will be the next retailer that is adding that, so that they can change the label up to every 10 seconds.
Every 10 seconds.
Yeah. So, for
So
example,
it's like surge price in the deluxe,
yeah.
right?
So,
Well,
a grocery industry analyst is quoted to say, if it's hot outside, we can raise the price of water and ice cream. If there's something that's close to the expiration date, we can lower the price. That's the good news. Now, apps like Uber are already using surge pricing, in which higher demand leads to higher prices in real time. Wendy's also is doing that. We covered
we
that a
talked
little
about
while
that.
ago.
Yep.
And yeah, they're hoping to have at least 2,300 stores by 2026.
So Walmart's
using
a big
this.
boy. I mean, this is a big deal. This isn't like a small little mom and pop.
No. And so I really hate something like this, because this is a really nice thing for people who work in the stores.
Yes.
I don't know if you know what it's like to work in a retail outlet.
I have not worked in a grocery store.
Okay, so I have.
Okay.
I also have.
And every Sunday,
Yeah,
you had to go through the entire store and pull tabs and reprice everything with stickers.
okay.
That took hours and hours of really boring, repetitive work
Also,
away from what you should be doing as an employee.
I worked in retail specifically with clothes.
Yep.
There would be a bunch of mistakes where somebody would forget to take off a label that was for one specific day, and then the following day a customer would come up and say, "Oh, this is a discount," and that was a one-day only discount.
So we did
this
that
would
at
be
Kohl's.
nice.
My wife and I were just shopping for some gifts for one of our nephews.
Yeah.
And it was a big 50% discount. And we go up there and the guy says, well, that should have been pulled
Yeah.
like yesterday. And we're
Yep.
like,
Too bad.
And I took a picture of it too. My wife did. And she took a picture and said, okay, well, we'll only take one of them. And I mean, he honored it, but it was just, it was very difficult to replace those.
So it's nice in the sense of the worker.
It would have been nice if it was about how it's going to save worker time, but we don't care about workers in America.
No.
We care about moving products.
Well, have you ever been?
This is talking about how if it's hot outside like it is today up in the Seattle Pacific Northwest region, and you walk into a Walmart and they see you coming and they know you're going to buy ice cream, they're going to hook up a few more cents on
Or
that.
air conditioners. I've gone into local stores when air conditioning was really important, a real hot type of deal. And you can see they have all the fans at the very front. None of them look like they're on sale. All the air conditioning units are up front. So, I mean, some stores already small, mom and pop stores, I think already surge price a little bit with this.
Well, that makes sense.
That makes sense. But now Walmart, that's a pretty big deal.
Well, they're not the only store that does that. Whole Foods also does it. And also, this is pretty
but
common.
Whole Foods is a scam.
This is pretty common in Europe.
It's pretty common in Europe?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we're just catching up to it. But honestly, another thing that the article talks about is the differences between online prices and in-store prices.
Okay.
And that is something that I really got frustrated with as a retail worker, because customers would come in hoping to get the deal.
Yep.
And the deal is only available online, and it's a completely different price in the store. So
I see. You know what? So as a business store owner, I think if you have deals that are going on online, I think that you should have that in the store. I mean, I understand that
you would think
that, yeah.
You would think that, but not the big.
That's like Comcast service or internet service. If I'm an existing customer, I get hosed. But if I quit their service and go someplace else and come on in, I get 12 months for free at this discounted price.
Absolutely. Everything's built on customer getting, not customer keeping.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's psychology behind being on the premises too. So if you have a customer that comes in the store, you're more likely to be able to sell something at a higher price than online. So they're only encouraging you to do what they're trying to get you to do.
Yeah.
So if Nathan could have his way with this technology, why wouldn't they just have a huge database online? And when you come on in and it just uses that database. So there's not an online or store. And then you come on in and you can just have on your phone or your app just a little barcode. Forget even putting a price there, and you just scan it and you find the price that the online place has, and then you just go around shopping with your phone looking for.
That's Amazon.
Well, it is. Or a QR code or something. I would be okay with that. I'm done looking at the prices.
I don't know if you've ever really looked into how stores run how they do their marketing campaigns. It's like you have to have a PhD in this stuff because it's some crazy.
And then they always change the
stuff.
locations. I mean, the toy store, or the toy area at Kohl's was back in the left, and then it was in the middle, and then it was on the right, and then the Amazon Return was in the right
They're
side.
It all
and the
depends on
left
the
side.
season.
They're trying.
Is it
They're
all
trying
seasonal?
to keep
Yeah,
you
it's
on your
seasonal.
toes. You don't want to become complacent because you start missing those areas.
Yeah.
And when they change them all around, you're forced to look,
Yeah,
and
okay.
you're finding all these other products.
All right.
It's-
Do you like this
it's
idea? Larry?
psychological
I
warfare.
like the idea that it helps the retail worker in a way, but it's doing more harm than anything.
Okay.
Because I can't tell you how many times, like something as simple as a bag charge, infuriates customers.
Oh yeah, I hate that.
You know?
I hate that stupid bag charge.
And now we're going to include surge pricing at a Walmart, which Mark mentioned during our meeting last night is the retail of lowest low.
Yeah, I mean it's the every man's retail shop, right? If you're out in the middle of the sticks, you go to Walmart.
Walmart was who created Amazon, if you think about it, because they came up with that. Walmart was the one that came up with the idea.
Just said, "Let me change and be no longer a bookstore. Let me do everything."
Yeah.
That was a smart pivot by him.
Oh well.
So I'm anti this.
You're anti this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, story number 3. Let's see if Mike's anti his story. So was I anti my first story?
This is hard for me because if hacking is a thing, because we talk about hacking all the time and we hate it.
Yeah.
But this has got to be the best hack in the world.
Yeah.
And the worst hack in the world.
Okay.
This is so I have
you're funny and
I've got a split thing going on because this is the best thing ever, but it's also the worst thing.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
What do we got?
So are you familiar with the Apple Vision Pro?
Yes, that's the 3D mod. That's of course your 3D virtual reality set that came out from Apple, and they all tried to sell it for way overpriced than what it is. What's that?
It's not doing well.
It's doing well because it's got unique concepts of having your virtual desktop in your virtual desk and do work on it. So it's not necessarily all entertainment, whereas essentially Meta's is pretty much all entertainment. Yeah. So it's a little different.
So if you live in this 3D environment that Apple Vision Pro gives you, you might find your little virtual room filling up with things like thousands of scary spiders or chittering bats.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a little creepy. Hackers are exploiting a vulnerability in Apple Vision Pro's makeup to create a virtual environment that they can fill up with digital objects like spiders and bats, causing significant psychological distress.
I kill my wife. My wife cannot stand spiders. She would be freaking out.
Well, this is why I love this and I hate this.
Okay.
Because there's this side of me that thinks that I love horror movies and this is an excellent thing to do.
Okay.
But at the same time, you're really going deep in the psychological abuse aspect of it. So professionally, this is a bad thing.
Okay.
So what's going on is hackers are exploiting a Safari bug in Apple Vision Pro. The bug is allowing them to fill the virtual spaces with things like spiders and bats. Apple is aware, and they have released a fix for the vulnerability. Cybersecurity researcher Ryan Pickren has discovered this significant vulnerability in the headset that allows the hackers to inundate the virtual environments with swarms of creepy spiders and screeching bats.
Okay.
In his blog, he reveals that he has flagged a bug in the browser that permits a malicious website to bypass all the security warnings. Once exploited, the bug allows the attacker to fill the user's augmented reality space with these animated 3D objects. To make the attack more panic-inducing, these virtual crawlers are not just visual, they can also come with sound, further intensifying the horror as they crawl and fly around the user's real-world environment. According to Pickren, hackers exploit this vulnerability by luring the user to visit a compromised website. Once the site is opened in the Vision Pro Safari browser, the malicious code activates and floods of user space with terrifying, creepy crawlies.
Okay.
Problem is that there is no straightforward way to clear these pests. Users must manually tap each one in their augmented reality space, so it becomes like asteroids
or whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.
So you got to tap them all.
Yeah.
So you got to swat them all.
You got to swat them all, I guess.
Okay.
So simply closing the Safari browser does not eliminate the problem, and it basically forces users to play a digital game of pest control.
Wow.
Apple is, of course, addressing the vulnerability as the fill the room with spiders scenario is not a standard category in existing frameworks, and it makes it harder for security analysts to identify and prioritize.
So they didn't ask for money. So this is kind of
this is why
like a good April Fool's joke.
Yeah. I mean, how would you feel if you got on your Apple Vision Pro, you're doing your office thing, and suddenly this plethora, there's your word,
plethora
of spiders just started crawling out of every
That'd be pretty freaky.
Yeah, you would freak out, right?
Yeah, I would.
So
noise is going on, so your headset all of a sudden you hear noise.
So again, this is a kind of thing I can get behind as somebody who enjoys horror things. Right. I can't get behind it professionally because this is very traumatizing.
Yeah.
Right. Because this can be one of the most creepiest things ever.
Yeah.
But they should turn that into a game.
They should turn that into a game.
Yeah. I mean, so far we know that it doesn't grab personal information.
Okay.
All it's doing is creating these issues in a virtual space.
Maybe you should have an option to go into that and allow for creepy bugs as a part of your option.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have a phobia,
that would be huge.
I mean, we're actually genetically kind of phobic of these creatures anyway, where there's a genetic component to it. But if you have a serious phobia, this could really be off-putting.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
So interesting story, but. Now, do you want to go buy an Apple Vision Pro, load this up, and give it to somebody?
This tempts me into going and buying one just so I can experience this. Yes.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, that ends our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, we have Gwen Way up as our gadget and gear segment expert with a product that will keep you on task and help you swat items left and right. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have our whiskey review. See you after this break.
This is Mark
and Greg
for Copiers Northwest
with a terrific offer
called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner,
one of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service
as long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest.
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers
or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives
and let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 16 minutes. And of course, with a little whiskey on the side today. Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, is in the studio. Mark, I just had this during the break. This is smooth as silk. What are we tasting?
Are you sure, Silk?
We are drinking Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 11. Now, from Bardstown Bourbon Company's website, our Discovery Series highlights the art of blending, creating exciting expressions that together are greater than the sum of its parts. Now, this series pushes the boundaries of innovation by creating completely unique flavor profiles and styles. This release has a vibrant blend of Rainier cherry, butterscotch, brown sugar, and roasted peanut, which leads to a spirited palette of toffee and cinnamon spice. The indelible finish of ripe red fruit and luscious oak rounds out this remarkable Kentucky bourbon.
Wow, this is I I like this.
This is from our friend Chris Cantrell. This is the third bottle that he has donated for us to put on the show. You've given 2 thumbs down so far to him.
Have I really?
Yes.
Oh, well, you know what? I think, what? We may be breaking that tradition today.
What was the other whiskeys? You remember?
Yeah, one was a Woodinville Nectar of the Gods.
Okay.
And the other one was a rye.
Okay.
All right. We did.
All right. Well, I don't know. What do you think of this so far, Mike?
It's really sweet. It has a very fruity upfront taste, and it has a very fruity long finish too. They're two different profiles.
It doesn't really have a big bite though. I like it. I took it, of course, just some of them. That first bite normally hits you really hard, but I didn't have that big bite where I'm like, oh, and here I'm tasting it.
Interesting that Mike says 2 different profiles. You sure it's not 3?
Ooh.
Well, I did have an alcohol burn in the middle part that I know was taking up some of that profile.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. So it's from Bardstown Bourbon Company, which is now owned by Pritzker Private Capital, some crazy name.
Okay.
They're a private equity firm. Distillation is from Bardstown, Kentucky, and 2 undisclosed distilleries. It's straight bourbon. It's a blend of a 6-year, a 10-year, and a 13-year-old bourbon. So they have 3 different mash bills that they have blended together. It is 118.1 proof. And it goes for retail for $140. The secondary isn't that much on it. It's only about 165 at the top peak.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Nathan seems more interested in the proof than the anything else.
Okay, so I like the proof because I like stronger bourbons and whiskey to taste, and this one did not burn at that high proof. So when I really said it was like, wow, that was a high proof, and
it wasn't the it was the glee in the eyes as soon as he said 118 proof.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
we've turned you into a proof whore, is what they call it.
When
we first started the show 3 years ago, you were very low proof.
I was.
Yes.
Yeah, the 80 proof stuff doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, that's
what you've had good.
That's called becoming an alcoholic.
Is that okay?
That's called word for it. That's called tolerance.
Okay, all right. I like that then. All right. Okay, you're gonna tell us more, I'm sure, with our crazy day and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, though.
Like and subscribe, and if you have a whiskey that you want Mark to review and take, put a comment note in our YouTube video that you watch, and then he'll have a chance to go out and get that.
I'd love it. And drink responsibly. Heaven can wait.
That's right. There you go. And be careful with the 4th of July, as we can see with my hat. Keep your fingers, keep your toes, and don't do anything irresponsible. Now, with our first whiskey tasting complete, let's move on to our feature segment today with Gwen Way joining the show. She's an expert in cybersecurity during the day and a game board geek in the evenings, as well as the producer of TechTime Radio and our gadgets and gear gal. Let's get ready to start our Comcast video stream in our next segment right now.
What's new in our gadgets and gear?
All right. Welcome to the show, Gwen. Tell us a little bit about yourself. For if anybody is new listening to the show, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do in your daytime when you're not, of course, on TechTime Radio or helping produce the show? What do you do?
Well, actually, I'm in cybersecurity, as you mentioned, but I've been doing tech support and security and network support and all of that for, dear Lord, 25 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so you started when you were 1. You see how I did that?
Oh, I like that.
So there you go. Started when you were 1. There you go. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
He's been drinking.
I have been drinking a little bit.
But
all right.
Bringing up hats to share with everyone.
Then we're gonna go right to your gadget, and then we got to talk about something before you leave that will kind of go with your gadget. So, what do you have today for the listeners?
Well, this is something that I don't need as much now as I might have a few years ago, but it would have been perfect when I was living in Texas.
Okay.
We have entered the summer, and that means bug season.
Okay,
so not only do we have to worry about creepy crawlies coming at us through our Apple Vision Pros, we kind of have to deal with them every time we go outside at this point. So I went looking, and on Kickstarter, I found a new way to take care of bugs.
Oh, okay. A new way to take care of bugs. This must be a technology marvel. All right, because the only thing I have right now is I have that little gun that you put with salt in it, and you shoot the flies and you shoot the mosquitoes and
work.
everything, and that's kind of fun. But
but you end up shooting your kids.
Yeah, shoot your kids, and then after a while, you start shooting your skin, and then you just start shooting your eyes to try to get it. So then it becomes a little bit more of a game.
I don't know what kind of progressive rule system you have, but that's the wrong way to do it.
Oh, is that the wrong
I
way
was
to do
going
it?
to say, don't turn it back on yourself.
Okay.
Oh, I wonder what this will do to my eye.
Okay, all right, that's right. Okay,
You'll shoot your eye out. That's
all right. So tell us, what is this device? A little bit of information regarding that.
All right. So there are a couple of things that most bug destroyers have in common. You can have one that zaps it. Traditionally, it's something that you hang up outside. You hear the bzzzt, and you know that it has caught something.
The mosquito electric chair.
Yep.
Exactly. Then there are the ones that look like little ping pong paddles or pickleball paddles.
Yep.
That are also electrocuted, and you zap by smashing.
And then that gets stuck in your food, and then you just try to hope no one saw you do that. So you just keep on going. Okay, yep. I know what
so
you're
you want to
saying.
be careful with that.
You eat a lot of bugs, don't you?
I think I do.
Extra protein. And the final one is just the trap, the little traps where they walk on something and get stuck, and that's it.
Oh, the sticky tape stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yep. Okay.
So the company ZapSnare has actually found a way to combine all three of them into one technological marvel that they are calling the Trap and Zap.
Trap and Zap. Okay, I like that. That's an easy name to remember.
Exactly, and it does exactly what it says. You've got the light where it can attract bugs and zap them, just like the thing that usually hangs up. There is a paddle that you can disconnect that you can use to swat and hit the flies in midair if you want to. And finally, there's a trap underneath that has scent attraction and the sticky tape. So you get all three methods in one device.
All three in one.
Yeah.
Just you wait. We got more.
Why do you sound like you're going to offer a life supply of rice-a-roni after this?
There you go.
I mean,
all
if
right.
I had a life supply of rice-a-roni, I would give it to you in a heartbeat, Mike.
There you go. Okay. All right. So now where did you find this, right? Because sometimes you've been having gadgets that you can just buy. Is this one of the startup? Is it a Kickstarter? Where can we find this?
This is actually a Kickstarter. It's a Kickstarter that is open through the end of the month, so it's the end of July.
Okay.
And honestly, they've got over 200 backers. They've already got 200% of their stated goal. So it is relatively certain that this is going to actually go through at this point.
Okay. So that's good to know. Is this company done a Kickstarter project before?
This is their first Kickstarter, although they appear to have some experience both in technology and in bug killing.
Bug extermination? Okay,
extermination, that's a good word.
So they're like the bug zapper pros type of deal of technology?
Exactly. So they just kind of combined those two into one good big thing for themselves.
They have termites listed on their website. I don't understand that.
A termite? What do you mean?
They have a picture of a termite on their little thing where all the bugs that they kill.
Does it kill a termite too?
I guess it kills termites.
I mean,
but
I
it's
guess
not made out of wood.
Okay, well, it's not made out of wood.
How does it get the termites?
You probably have to use the swatter part.
I'm pretty sure that I've never watched a termite crawl around on my countertop and wanting to bash it in with the thing.
They don't, but they do fly.
Oh, the termites fly?
Termites.
When they're
Okay, so I guess you can swat it there. Okay.
Okay.
Living in the Pacific Northwest, we don't have termites really.
You know, it took me. I had an uneasy feeling when I moved here for 2 weeks because I moved from Arizona, where
bugs
like
everywhere.
Texas.
Yeah.
So everything's trying to stick, stab, or sting you in Arizona, and I was uncomfortable here for 2 weeks because I couldn't figure out why, and it was because I was suddenly safe.
You're safe. You weren't
really
swatting anything.
I had no idea what safety felt like.
Okay, that's right. Okay. All right, so this is like 3-in-1. Now, is this pet friendly? Because I know some people on these devices, especially with like the sticky tape, that they keep their dogs away from it. Because you remember that old stuff you used to.
I think I would be more worried about zapping things with the electronic zapper. Come here, kitty.
Yeah, there is the possibility that somebody will, sniff it and get zapped, but it's a low enough voltage that should not cause any problems for pets.
Okay.
I definitely wouldn't leave it on unattended if a pet is around.
That makes sense.
But other than that, I would say it's pretty safe.
Unless you don't
take it
like
into
your cat.
PetSmart.
Then
Don't
you
take
tell
it
your
into
cat,
PetSmart.
put catnip all over it. No, okay. All right. Pet friendly. Now, are you going to get one? That's kind of the most important thing, Gwen. Is this on your list to grab for the summer times?
It is on my list. And I might actually end up getting two, one for inside and one for outside, so that we can sit out on our porch and not have to worry about mosquitoes.
How does it do for virtual pests like spiders and bats?
I was kind of wondering that. I would like to see a virtual version of this that you can use
there you
on
go.
your Apple
You
Vision
get a
Pro.
download code. You can just go and you can just start snapping it.
Exactly.
All right. So reviewing it. How much is the unit again? Where can you find it? How many backers? Let's do a review of this.
Not a problem. So right now you can still get the super early bird price of $59 for one
That's good.
device.
Okay.
Or you can get two for $99.
Oh, you save. What do you say?
Later on, once all of those sell out, it'll be one for $79, but I still think it's a deal for that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Gwen, before you go,
Yes.
let's talk about something else. Did you guys all know that there's a brand new app for Mac that essentially you guys all have your trash box? You know what your recycle bin is? Your trash
we
bags?
talked about this.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about it last night, right? So guess what? You can now get a virtual group of flies that will fly around your wastebasket bin, specifically on the Mac OS, called Banana Bin. You can configure fly thresholds from the app's icon, and it's available for free right now. They expect it to be like a 99-cent type of app later on. But when you have 10 megabytes, essentially there's a janitor mode. It'll start having some flies of information to delete. When you have 1 gig, it will become to the recycler, so you'll have tons of flies that will be there. And if you're a garbage hoarder at 10 gigabytes, essentially they will just be eating through your waste paper bin.
What is it with all these bugs on your virtual spaces?
Well, I don't know. So I guess this is the hot new trending
I
item
don't
right
understand
now.
this. I don't know why I want to make my computer a naggy wife.
Well,
This used to be something that was really popular in the early 2000s, although the vast majority of those were viruses. But yeah, you could get just little companions that hung out on your desktop and did things.
like
this
Clippy.
I'm actually
Microsoft
interested in.
Bob.
Exactly, like Clippy.
Like
Clippy.
Yeah.
This I'm actually interested in because having worked for MSPs in the past, I know a lot of people who, for some reason, use their recycle bin as
Storage.
Storage.
Yeah.
And this might actually talk them into stopping.
Yeah, so the Banana Bin is available. It's a freeware product. All you got to do is look for Banana Bin, and I have loaded it on my machine. Now, I may not be a very good compadre for their app because I always delete stuff as soon as I put it in my trash bin. I don't let it sit there for a long time, so I'm going to have to change my habits so I can see the flies.
Just so you can see.
around.
Well, just get a Vision Pro and you can look at spiders and stuff. You don't need to worry about the garbage
You can get the
flies.
spiders to attack the flies. It'll be
There
fun.
you go. There you go.
I don't know why.
All right, Gwen. So tell us, what are we going to have next month? So we got summer months going on right now. That's going to be in the heat of summer in August in the Pacific Northwest. Do you have an idea of what you have for our next gadget and gear?
I'm going to be looking into some personal cooling devices, possibly.
Oh, that
That's
sounds like
kind
a
of what I'm
great
leaning toward.
idea. Okay.
Personal what?
Yeah, a cooling device.
Oh,
I was
cooling
down I was down at Disney World, and I had to go out and buy one of those devices that blew air at you because it was so smoggy. But the sucker is so
humid,
loud.
Humid.
Was that or humid?
Humid.
What did I say? Smoggy.
You said smoggy. It's
Smoggy.
humid
I mean, it
in
could be
Florida.
both, depending on where
It
you
was
are.
humid. But essentially, I had to have one of those devices just so that I could walk and not take care of. If you can find one that's silent, that I don't hear the fans go on it didn't matter. I bought an expensive one and I bought a cheap one. And guess what? The cheap one sounded just like the expensive one did. It did no real difference between it, but you hear the fans.
That's entitled.
Was that?
That's entitled.
Well, okay.
Give me something. Give me something that works that I can't hear.
Well, I was hoping that I was kind of glad that the
I
cheap one
can't
worked.
guarantee zero sound, but I'll see if I can find something with.
Okay.
all that
Why don't you
sound.
get a Mister instead? Those don't
Misters
make
are
any
good.
sound.
Well, you can't walk around with a mister.
Yeah, you can.
You know,
it's
have
like
a
a water
bottle
bottle. It's like a water. No,
Yeah, they
it's
spray
a
ya.
pump water bottle.
Okay.
With a Mister
spray it.
fitting on a hose, and you clip it to your shirt,
Okay.
and it blows out little mist, and you just pump it up.
Okay.
Did you have
Although
the one
that's
that hangs
not
on
so
your
good.
neck?
in
I had the ones that
swampy
hangs on your
areas.
neck.
Okay, I had the one that you clip on my phone,
Okay.
and then you just walk around with your phone. I was already looking at my phone for the
That's just a
you know,
fan.
the Disney stuff, but
Was it better? Because the one around the neck,
It
that
was
sucker
quiet.
is loud.
it was quiet.
Okay.
How did we
But it
get? How did
wasn't-
we get here?
Constant.
Oh well, this is like a regular production show.
We should probably move on.
We should probably
from the
move on.
bugs.
All right, Gwen. Well, thank you for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you talk about new gadgets. I can't wait to see what we have next month.
Happy to be here.
All
Hi,
right.
Gwen.
Well, that ends our segment, Gadgets and Gear. Up now, we have Mike's mesmerizing moment. Let's start it now.
Welcome to Mike's mesmerizing moment. What does Mike have to say today?
All right, Mike, if a company offered to pay you millions of dollars for your voice to be used forever as an AI voice, would you do this?
Yes,
You would.
but
Okay.
why not? This is one of the problems that we've talked about. It's not necessarily that I have a problem with the technology. I have
Okay.
a problem with people using it to steal other people's things,
Okay.
right? Like their voices.
Okay.
So if somebody offered me,
Yeah.
which they're never going to do,
But millions of dollars, that was the
if
scenario.
I were to get millions of dollars for them to clone my voice to use for things, I would say yes. The but comes in for parameters and run what they are allowed to use it for and what they are not allowed to use it for.
Oh, would you make them cite a writer that said you could use it for this and can I?
Well,
use it
yeah,
for this?
that's like using James Earl Jones voices,
Yeah.
right?
I know Disney has that forever.
Darth Vader
Darth Vader's voices
only.
will be
right?
James Earl Jones.
They can't be using it for other things. It has to be Darth Vader.
That is correct.
So there, as long as there's some parameters around it, I definitely wouldn't want my voice to be used to advertise things that I don't personally believe in or like. But
For $1 million.
for $1 million, if you think my voice is the voice for your company and I agree with what your company is peddling,
Meta
then-
called you today and asked for it, you'd sell your voice to them.
Yeah, not Meta.
Okay.
Never mind Meta.
Okay, all right. Well, that ends our
Apple Vision Pro, maybe.
Okay,
I
with
could
the
be
spiders?
I could be laughing while the spider.
All right, well, that ends our mesmerizing moment. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we will be doing so during the break. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes.
Join the fun and grab tickets to GeekFest West, the 3-day Geek Festival extravaganza of fun and entertainment that will take place on the third weekend in July. Learn more at geekfest.com. GeekFest will feature diverse activities, including a film festival, vendor hall, street fair, outdoor music festival, cosmic cosplay, and video game tournaments. Join us at GeekFest West, the ultimate celebration of geek culture. To learn more, visit geekfest.com. That is geekfest.com.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, in our way back machine, we're going to take a look at July 3rd, 1997. A new law comes to California.
A new law
comes to California for ergonomics. California's ergonomic standard takes effect, dictating what employers must do to ensure that their workplaces prevent repetitive motion injuries like carpal tunnel syndrome. The new law seems as a possible measure of similar standards elsewhere in the nation, reflected and increased the incidence of such injuries, largely due to increased computer use. Nowadays, it's hard to imagine not having an ergonomic keyboard or mouse, but in the beginning times of personal computers, little was known that we would spend hours a day at a screen.
That's hard to believe.
What's that?
That
you remember the first mice? I mean, they were huge. They were huge
Oh, I
and
know.
awkward.
Yeah,
And
they had big long cords that tangled over everything.
yeah, I mean, if you just think of it nowadays, it's just, I mean, that's just
I'm
ergonomic
talking
keyboards.
Well, I'm talking about, that we didn't think people would be sitting in front of a screen all day.
I don't think you know what? I think Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, when they were at Microsoft, that was their goal, to get somebody to be in front of a screen all the time. But I think when Apple originally came out with their idea, I think it was supposed to be recreational use and not necessarily for business or commercial use.
Yeah.
As an enjoyment of exploring versus sitting on down and reading your email every day. I mean, we now have computers in our phones. Our phones are are way more powerful than most of the computers back in the early 90s, even to this extent of what they can do.
Yeah, but then they made a law to make ergonomics part of the thing.
Yeah,
which I think is probably a good idea.
I think it was a good idea. I think no one ever thought about it, and then California kicked in. So,
well, we didn't start really. Carpal tunnel really started coming out around the mid 90s. We started hearing more and more stories about carpal tunnel syndrome and what that was.
Well, because our keyboards and our seats were not really ergonomic. I remember a Commodore 64 keyboard as you're leaning over into it. It didn't even have the spacing for the keys correctly.
Oh yeah,
it was just designed for someone to hunt and peck, not necessarily to sit on down and type like a typewriter at the time. Well, that was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history, over 200 weekly broadcasts spanning 5+ years of video, podcasts, and blog information, you can always visit us at techtimeradio.com and watch our older shows. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have Mark's Mumble Whiskey Review. We'll see you after the break.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
All right, what do we got here?
Today, July 2nd. It is the start of July.
Yoo-hoo.
Don't you just feel so excited?
I am excited. There's sun out right now.
So excited.
That is nice.
I think Odie wants you to guess what today is.
Is it Sunshine Day?
National Disco Day.
Oh, is it National Disco Day? Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'm one of the oldest people here.
So we're gonna do a little. Who's the guy that was the big?
What are you guys doing, talking and not dancing?
Disco. Oh, disco. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Travolta, wasn't he?
John
the big,
Travolta, Saturday Night Fever.
Which is why Night Fever's playing.
Okay.
ABBA.
This day is to salute all things disco, from the music and dancing to the entire culture of the 1970s. Disco developed from several influences: Philadelphia soul, funk, psychedelic soul, and pop, all inspired dance music and American nightlife. Disco started as a reaction to the popularity of rock music in the 1960s and emerged as a subculture response to how current dance music was being ignored and dismissed by music fans.
And then it died. And then some people in the 90s tried to bring it back, and it died again. Disco is dead.
Well, it'll come on back in about 5 years because we reboot TV shows, cartoons. We reboot everything.
Anytime you're at a dance floor and one of these songs comes on, it fills up. It is not dead. It is alive in everybody's heart.
All right.
Really?
Especially in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Wow. Mark has just revealed something about himself that we didn't know.
He loves disco music.
He's a club hopper.
He is. That's where he drinks his whiskey.
That's correct. And dancing too.
Right. Fantastic.
Now,
do you do the funk?
I try. Not very good, but I try.
Okay.
You want to talk whiskey, don't you, Odie?
Yeah, I want to get to know the whiskey.
All right. So at Bardstown, bourbon is all about the art of blend. Now, within the Discovery Series, also referred to in the whiskey community as the Disco Series.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
It now includes 11 expressions. Bardstown combines rare whiskey sourced from all over, creating exciting expressions that together are greater than the sum of the parts. The series is designed to highlight the science and craftsmanship of blending whiskey and aims to create a completely new flavor profile with each of its releases. Every spirit blended for Discovery Series is tasted by a team member from every level of the distillery, analyzed and voted on.
So everybody in the distillery has to...
Very all-inclusive
It's
company.
Okay. That's cool.
Democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't understand how the Discovery Series gets overlooked by many whiskey enthusiasts, as evident in the secondary market activity.
Okay.
This whiskey is complex, layered, and an excellent example of the superb blending skills. Many people go for that single barrel or the single distillation, distillation. However, branching out into blends can lead you to new and exciting whiskeys, as we've discovered today. This bourbon was part of a get-together whiskey tasting that I was part of, and it came on top with all the participants. It was our number one of all 15 bourbons and whiskeys that we were sampling.
Was there a disco ball involved?
There was not, but
okay.
I do have one in my closet.
Oh, wow.
Now this whiskey
I don't want you coming out of the closet too much right now.
All right.
And we have to send a special thank you to Chris Cantrell again for this wonderful bottle.
I'm glad that
and
I
he
actually
finally got thumbs up out of you guys, I believe.
All right, Mark, thanks for the mobile. As always, whiskey and technology, such a great pairing. Just like geeky people attending Geek Fest West.
Serious.
That's right. All right, let's prepare for our technology fail of the week, brought to you by Elite Executive Services, technology experts to help you out of a technology fail.
We are out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh. I failed. Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right, this is a simple failure. It comes to us from Meta, your company that you wouldn't sell your voice to. Meta is changing artificial intelligence labels after real photos were marked as AI. Now, essentially, Meta is now trying to tag stuff when you post it in their platforms, any of the Meta space, Facebook, Instagram, any of their type of deals, where they're actually saying made with AI. The problem is artists are criticizing this approach because a lot of the graphics that they have were just edited graphics in post-production, where software editing may blur an area here, may do some modifications, and we're actually mislabeled. Now, Meta is changing the labels.
Photoshop gone awry.
That's right. So essentially, the Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and WhatsApp parent company says it will have new labels that will say AI info along the side of the post instead of using the made with AI. Meta thinks that this helps strike a balance between fast-moving technology and responsibility to help people understand what its system shows in their feeds.
I'm not sure if Meta is allowed to comment on what is balancing or not.
That's what they're doing. Well, people continue to try to come up with labels for AI, trying to tag it. Maybe a simple approach is just let people post it on there and let them think if it's AI or not.
Maybe
I don't know why we need
not made by AI,
parental controls,
retouched with
of our
AI,
stuff.
and
all right,
made with AI.
Well, let's now move directly into our Nathan Nugget.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, so this is a soapbox here that we're going to kind of end the show with. Paul Allen's Living Computer Museum Plus Labs will close permanently. Now, I actually worked on this project with Paul, and I know that this was one of his greatest accomplishments that he put out there. Essentially, the Living Computer Museum was a project located in the South Seattle Museum, housed by Microsoft co-founder Paul G. Allen's collection. This was a collection of vintage computers and internet technology that essentially, instead of it being behind closed doors, were able for people to touch, look at, and understand how computers have evolved through the time.
Why are they closing it?
Well, Rich Alderson was one of the first people on the project. The original website was called pdpplanet.com, which then got moved over to the Living Computer Museum. It's not clear what's going to happen to all the gear. Some of it says it's going to go up for auction, specifically the DEC PD-10, which is the computer from 1971, a type computer that Allen and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates perfected their programming on. They closed it during COVID, and they decided to never reopen the museum itself. Now,
is this really a COVID death, or is this?
I really liked working with Paul Allen. There's very little I can say about working with his sister, but his sister has taken over control, and I know that Cinerama has been put on mothballs and lots of other stuff. So all I will say is I think Paul's dream of letting people touch computers, working with them, probably will not continue to be realized as this project is closed.
Well, if you're going to close off his dreams, you're eventually going to close off all the stuff that he's known for. And the income streams that come from that.
Well,
so there you go.
That's exactly what we get. Well, now let's move to our pick of the day.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
All right. Our pick of the day.
Magic time.
What is it? What are we getting?
Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 11.
Number 11.
Yep. It is a blend of 3 different bourbons, 6, 10, and 13 years old. $140 MSRP.
I love this. Thumbs up.
I don't think you have to talk to me. It's a thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up for you. Where does this sit on your shelf?
Well, it's not on my shelf. It's donated by Chris.
So
but
you're
if I
thinking
had
about
it, it would be very high on my shelf. So Chris is going to love that we give it 2 thumbs up, but it won't be as funny for him because he did enjoy your thumbs down on the other whiskey.
My other whiskeys, he'd say he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's got this guy has whiskey and he's a connoisseur. But this is good.
He actually agreed with one of your other ones, but not on another
the
one.
Woodinville one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I go to Costco. It's all over the thing. My wife's like, "You want a Woodinville whiskey?" I'm like, "No, I don't even want to."
Hey, you can get some pretty good whiskeys from Costco.
You can, but not Woodinville. All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening. Listeners, if you would like to ask us a question, click on that Be a Caller button on the top of our website and our talkback system. Remember, we enjoy doing this show for you each and every week where bites collide, circus sing, and geeks reign supreme. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm, signing off with a binary wink. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.